Well, you dealt with Stanley Tookie Williams, who was one of the founders of the Crips.
Well, I didn't know Stanley. I didn't know him personally, but I got involved with some rappers from L.A., and unbeknownst to me, they were tied in with Tookie. And, the reason I want to tell this story is because, we always get accused of being racist. The Hells Angels are racist. Well, the night Tookie was executed, I had several of these rappers from, Tookie followers at my house. We were hoping that Governor Schwarzenegger was going to at least stay the execution. And, we all were sitting around not the clubhouse, we were at my personal house. And, of course, the stay never came, and Tookie was executed. It was a real sad evening. I had even considered, I knew Schwarzenegger from before his political days when he was an actor. Mickey Rourke introduced me to him. And I resisted reaching out to the governor, and I'll tell you why. Mickey Rourke, myself, and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a picture taken together one night. We were in the back of Mickey's candy store. He had a candy store down there on Cannon. And the paparazzi took some pictures of us three standing together. And I went to one of the photographers that night. I said, I want to get a copy of that. And he said, those copies are gone. Apparently Schwarzenegger had bought them all up. He was preparing to run for governor. And
right. You don't want that picture messing up his campaign.
He didn't want that floating around. So, were those guys my friends? Yeah, they were rappers. They were tied in with Tookie, and, they were my friends. And, the subject always comes up, you guys are racist. Well, you know what? No, we're not racist. Do we follow the prison color lines? I stated it, from the beginning when I learned about that. Yeah, that's been it. And that's what the Hells Angels have ascribed to for years, since Hells Angel members in the late 60s started going to prison. In the early 60s, the late 50s, Hells Angels weren't much of a target. They were these former military personnel returned from the Pacific Theater and the European Theater, probably suffering from undiagnosed PTSD and whatnot. They started grouping together in these little clubs. The people on the East Coast say it started there. People on the West Coast, we say it started here. I remember seeing little groups of people from 1955 on. I was with my father standing on a street corner in San Fernando Valley, and somebody rode up on a chopper with a sleeveless vest. I don't know what it said on the back, but it really made an impression on me. And, 10 years later, I walked into that world.